Welcome back to the Korra Files, where we are going to be answering the big question on whether the Legend of Korra is actually good or not. And today we are talking about probably the most controversial piece of writing in the Avatar franchise, season 2 of the Legend of Korra. I believe it's called Spirits. My last video was kind of long. I don't know how long this one's gonna be. My main thing I'm gonna say is that this season is shit. It's so bad. It's so bad. I hate season 2 with all my heart. When I was a kid growing up and I was watching The Legend of Korra, I never really analyzed movies or shows that much. But The Legend of Korra season 2 was one of the few things where I watched something and I thought, God, that sucks. Um, it sucks so bad. So there's a lot of things to talk about. Let's start with Unalaq. Unalaq is our new villain, and he's actually Korra's uncle. At first, well, he seems like he's trying to help Korra, but they make it painfully obvious to us, the viewer, that Unalaq is the bad guy. But Korra trusts him. Korra trusts him because Unalaq is actually making some good points about Korra's life. He's saying, the White Lotus hid her for her whole life, prevented her from getting a real Avatar journey. These are all real points. I talked about that in my last video. That is a valid point, a valid critique that I think could have been an interesting story to build off of. Korra realizing she didn't get the proper Avatar treatment she was supposed to have. She was robbed of her own Avatar journey. Unalaq makes good points that she has been hidden from the world. And so, Korra goes under training of Unalaq, becoming a more spiritual person, kind of. And we get into our first gripe of the season, which is the spirits. Spirits in Avatar The Last Airbender, in season 1 of Korra, they weren't there. But in Avatar The Last Airbender, spirits are these ambiguous things. They're not black and white. They're morally gray. They have good sides and bad sides. You can't define them as either good or bad. That you can't define spirit in Avatar The Last as Airbender as one of those. But in The Legend of Korra, they completely throw that away. You've got big evil spirits that are attacking people because Vatu, who we get into later. I don't know why my camera's looking upwards, but it sucks. I hate the spirit stuff in Korra season 2. I don't know why my camera's going like that, guys. This is weird. But anyways, as I was saying, the spirit stuff in season 2 sucks. Really, really sucks. I hate how, black and white, they made the spirits. I hate how, not literally black and white, but, they're either one thing or the other, which I think is stupid. Oh God, it's just such a mess. And you can see, the thing is with season 2 is that it sucks so much, but it is probably the thing that has the biggest impact on the Avatar franchise because of how much of a history and lore season it is. It focuses so much on history and the Avatar lore that, it influences anything you make in the future about Avatar. Like, anything. In any future Korra season, the spirits, the spirit world, they all look weird now because of season 2. Even the Avatar movie had some weird spirit visuals because it had to keep in line with Korra. It just sucks. Unalaq. He is the chief of the Northern Water Tribe. If you couldn't tell when you were watching season 2 of Korra, he's actually John Evil himself. Unalaq is Mr. Evil, or as he puts it himself, the Dark Avatar. The Dark Avatar. I can't believe that's a real sentence. Oh God. So Korra eventually finds out Unalaq is evil. because she finds out about Rava and Vatu. Basically, we get this whole story about the first Avatar. I don't think it's that bad, but Rava and Vatu suck. Rava's the good spirit, Vatu's the evil spirit. One combined with Rava to defeat the evil spirit, blah blah blah. And basically, Unalaq, being John Evil himself, wants to free Vatu from his tree cage. His tree cage. I mean, would you believe it? He's trapped in a tree. I don't know how that makes any sense. But anyways, so, where are we? We're a little bit all over the place. Um, I just hate it so I can't talk about this season without getting mad. Um, Unalaq. I hate how they made him a villain. That's a hot take. Was He's probably he is one of the worst characters in the show. But before the whole Mr. Evil arc, he was completely fine. I liked him. I thought he was interesting and good. The Civil War, the South Pole, while it wasn't my favorite storyline, it was certainly better than the second half of season 2 and a lot of the stuff we have gotten from The Legend of Korra. Um, his story with his brother is somewhat interesting. His ambiguity is sort of interesting. But, they go the route of making him that stereotypical evil villain who manipulates the hero. And I think that really sucks because, as I said, I think they could have had such an interesting story where Korra has to actually question, um, I've been hidden from my avatar journey for a long time. I think Unalaq makes good points about it. Um, so Vatu is Unalaq makes, oh yeah, spirit portals. Again, I'm all over the place. Um, there's spirit portals now, one in the North Pole and one in the South Pole. And Korra has to open them for harmonic convergence. Unalaq says, closing the spirit portals, Juan did that, and that was a mistake. So Korra goes to open them. Turns out she opens them, and Unalaq goes in secret to go find Vatu. And basically, because the two portals are open now, Vatu, on the day of harmonic convergence, which is like some space galactic thing, I'm not even sure. Vatu gets freed from his tree, and evil takes over the world for 10,000 years. No. Unalaq combines with Vatu into the Dark Avatar. So this huge kaiju fucking black and red giant that can waterbend and can also shoot out giant red and pink energy beams from his chest because, it wouldn't be anime if there were no energy beams. But it is an anime because it's Avatar. And there's no reason for there to be giant kaiju energy beams. But whatever. So Unavatu, I should say, is going over to Republic City to destroy everything. And Korra goes inside the tree, sits there, and turns into a giant blue thing. I don't know if there's ever an explanation as to what that was. How she just turned into a giant blue thing. But basically, long story short, she goes to Republic City, has her own blue energy beams, beats up the bad guy, and Janora comes in on some spirit orb and turns Unavatu into dust. Now, I've ignored a lot of other parts of season 2, so I'm going to get into them now, but that is like the main gist of what it is. There's other characters. Asami is trying to make her company be good because it turns out her father was a terrorist and now she has to rebuild her company's reputation with the help of our favorite Varric, a new character, an engineer. And you know what? I like Varric. He's funny. He's the best character in season 2 by a fucking mile. by a fucking mile. Before Unalaq was turned into Mr. Evil, Varric, as a whole in season 2, best, most consistent character. I don't care. You might think he's annoying, sure, but I fucking love him. He's so funny. And his assistant Julie is also pretty funny. Bolin becomes a movie star. Turns out Varric is like a war profiteer. Tries to blow up his own building, tries to kidnap the president of Republic City, and Bolin stops him, and he's a hero. And Mako gets arrested because Varric framed him for bombing a place or something. I don't remember. Mako's a policeman. Mako is a police officer in season 2, and he's also dating Korra until they break up, which is really weird because you had so much build up in season 1 of Korra and Mako, and then you finally get your season 2 and they just break up. And I mean, it makes sense why they broke up. They were really bad together, but like, why were they so bad together? Why did you write them so bad together? I don't understand. You did all that build up just for that. It was so lackluster. And there's also the twins, Esna and Desna, I think are their names. Bolin dates one of them, and she's actually insane. That's kind of it. That's what Bolin does. He's a movie star, and he dates Unalaq's daughter or son. I don't know which one it is. There's just so much to talk about in season 2, and I genuinely hate season 2 so much. Like, I think season 2 was good with the Civil War storyline, but when we got into the spirit world stuff, that's when it began to stink like shit. The Civil War storyline, I think, still had flaws. I liked Tonrock, but I think there's flaws. I thought Korra was a bit annoying at times in parts. But the Civil War storyline, if they kept that going, it was fine. But the spirit stuff with Vatu and Rava just is so bad. And you can see, like, it's genuine fan fiction. That's the type of shit you'd think you'd read in a fan fiction. You read that in fan fiction one day and go, oh, well, that person clearly put in a lot of effort. Kind of sucks, but it's cool, actually, because this is just fan fiction. But this is different, because this is the actual show. This shit sucks. It sucks so bad. It's why fanfiction shouldn't become actual writing of a show, because it's so bad. And you can see, the thing is, this season, oh yeah, also, Korra lost all her past lives, because Unalaq beat her shit up. She beat up Rava, and they lost a lot. Why did they do that? I won't understand that to this day. I don't get the point of why they just removed the past lives. What was the genuine fucking point? Because they did it, and then there was like zero grief about it from Korra. She was sad for a little bit, but we kind of moved on pretty fast from the fact that Aang, Roku, Kyoshi, Yangshen, Kuruk, Zito, all of them are just fucking gone. I think, oh dude, oh my god. And it's so annoying. That season sucks so bad. But the thing is, it affects the Avatar franchise completely from here on out. You know, season 3, you've still got remnants of Vatu. Korra has no past lives. There's still remnants of it in season 4, you know, with the spirit vines and stuff. Then in Seven Havens, Vatu is most likely looking to be back again, and nobody fucking likes Vatu. It just sucks. I think it's not too late. We should just decanonize season 2. And I get it, you know. If we decanonize season 2, well, it has links to season 3 and season 4, so then we'd have to decanonize them too. Do it. Do it. For the greater good of the Avatar franchise, get rid of season 2 of Korra. That shit stinks. That shit is horrible. Horrible. Listen, I'm a big Kuvira fan. Season 4 is my favorite Legend of Korra season, and Kuvira is one of my favorite villains that I've seen from Avatar in general. But I am completely willing to sacrifice that. I am completely willing to sacrifice her and that entire storyline. I am 100% willing if it means we can get rid of season 2. Even as a fan base, let's just act like season 2 never happened. Because every time I open social media and there's like a debate about Korra, it always links to season 2. You don't get to talk about Kuvira, which was an actually good storyline, or at least half decent. Zahir, which I'm not a huge fan of that storyline, but a lot of people like it, and it's better than season 2. But everyone only talks about season 2 because of how much of an impact it has on the Avatar franchise in general. You can't write anything anymore in Avatar without there being some influence from season 2 of Korra. And it's so, like, unless you're going backwards in time, like the Kyoshi novels, obviously, they're not going to talk about Rava and Vatu because we hadn't even discovered them in Aang's time, so it's okay. But the Avatar franchise isn't going backwards. It should be. It should be making shows backwards. I think Seven Havens looks great. I think Pavi looks amazing. But if we want this franchise to succeed, it should be going backwards in time, not forwards. I think that's bad. But because we're going forwards in time, everything connects to season 2. From here on out, everything that ever happens in the Avatar franchise, it will link into season 2. There will always be Rava. There will always be Vatu. The cool stuff that makes Avatar special, Sozin's Comet, the East Asian culture, the South Asian culture, the Asian culture, everything that was so special about Avatar, the elements, the martial art fighting, everything that made Avatar special, it will all be ruined because of season 2. It just sucks that bad. There was genuinely no reason. There's no reason for season 2 to have been written in the way it is. I don't want people to make the excuse of, oh, well, they only got one season at a time. My problem isn't that they didn't make a continuous story. My problem is that season 2 just sucked. The Civil War stuff, again, not exactly my cup of tea, but it is good. It is decent. But the second half of it sucks. I've seen maybe one positive comment about season 2 in my life. In my life. It just is that bad. It is so horrible. And it's such a shame because, again, it impacts the franchise so heavily that you can't do anything without it. I watched the Avatar movie, and I probably will make a video on it, but when Aang and the gang went to the spirit world, it looked like how it did in season 2, and that sucks because in the original show, the spirit world was so cool. It wasn't this, sparkly purple place with cool, evil, and good spirits. It was interesting, but now it's just numbed down to that. And another thing, the spirit portals really suck. In Avatar, I'm gonna keep drawing everything back to the original show because the original show is so good. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you wanted to get to the spirit world, no ordinary bozo could get there. You had to be a very spiritual person, very good at meditating, and even then, characters like Tenzin, who is a very meditative and spiritual person, could not get in. But now, with the introduction of spirit portals, anyone can get in. And the reason why this is such a problem is because it brings down the magical feeling of what the spirit world is. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, I think the only characters we really had in the spirit world were Aang and the other avatars. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that gave that realm such a mystical feeling because you knew it was special. Only this one person could get there. But now in Avatar, and in all due respects, in Avatar Korra, you have Bumi going to the spirit world and traveling around with Kaya. Again, all respects to those characters. They're not bad characters, but they do not belong in the spirit world. There's a reason why in the original show, Sokka never went to the spirit world. None of the other, even Katara, who's a completely, normal person, she can go to the spirit world because it's this special place. You had to be spiritually inclined, but now you have anyone going. Even Bolin should not be in the spirit world. Unalaq's daughters or sons or whatever they are should not be in the spirit world. They do not belong there. I'm sorry. The only one who should be in the spirit world is Korra, Unalaq, Tenzin, and Iroh. That's it. I don't want to see else's bitch ass in the spirit world. I don't want to see anyone else. I don't care. Jinora. I'm fine with Jinora being in there as well. Although the Jinora storyline I thought sucked. I think it's fine. She can see spirits. That's fine. But the thing at the end of her coming down on an orb, what was that? What did that even mean? I don't know. This is my least favorite season. Of any, not just Avatar in general, of anything I've ever watched in my life. Season 2 of Korra is the worst piece of crap I've ever had the displeasure to watch. I give it a 2 out of 10. And if I was feeling generous, I give it a 3 because the Civil War storyline was at least half decent. But everything after then falls apart. Everything after then is terrible. It just sucks. Mako still sucks. Bolin still sucks. Asami still sucks. Korra is still annoying. It just sucks. The only thing that seems normal to me about season 2 of Korra is that Republic City is still crap.